Hello and welcome back to the Macca's Talk Hockey podcast, the podcast where me and my brother Charlie talk about English ice hockey, specifically the NIHL, the National Ice Hockey League. And we are joined again by Dan. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good,
Back on
Charlie, are
again.
you all right?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, not too bad.
So yeah, we're going to be reviewing the first weekend of the NIHL season, and wow, a lot of goals this weekend. We've also got an interview with Swindon Wildcats player and youngster Josh Shaw, who talked a bit about his hockey career and also the current situation with Swindon. And before we get into reviewing the weekend, I wanted to quickly touch on it because it is a very tough time for us Swindon Wildcats fans and players. Our rink is currently flooded in the electrics room, which is the most important room of the whole building. The lights aren't working, and yeah, it's not great at the moment, is it, Charlie?
No, it sucks.
Yeah.
It for me, like there's two things I'm frustrated about. One, obviously, there's not hockey on the weekends, but two, it plays a dent into our cup and league, really. I'm not saying we would have won it. Obviously, I did predict us to win it. But if you're going to have to reschedule games for the next month and a half and you have 5 weeks in a row where you're playing 3-game weekends, it plays a dent into how you're actually going to play. And I don't want to be the guy who sends out excuses, but it's going to be a difficult season for the club in every way.
It is going to be tough, and it's unfortunate because it's actually nothing to do with us. It's literally the weather and the leisure centre, and the leisure centre need to wake up, and because it's much more than just the Wildcats, isn't it, Dan? They've got the skating sessions, they've got the figure skaters, they've got all the junior setups as well, so it's affecting that. So they need to get their head out of their arse, basically, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, I know all about losing a rink,
Exactly.
but then obviously it's another team. Obviously, I know you're still playing, but it's just another team that aren't able to play in their own rink, and it's not good for, like, if it carries on like this, it's not good for British hockey. It's not good. It's not good for anything really. And obviously, as fans, you've got passionate fans there that I know obviously want to be in the rink, and it's never nice.
But there is a little positive, and thank you to MK, because me and Charlie, we've had our little rivalry and banter with MK, but they've actually allowed us to play the game on Saturday at their rink, and it's going to be Swindon themed. One thing I will say though, I know they're doing us a massive favor, and we appreciate it so much. But if I'm MK, I'm taking that every single day of the week and over, because they're getting a game at their own rink, and they're going to be playing in front of a lot of MK fans as well. So I think it's a good compromise for
Trade-off.
both sides, isn't it, Charlie? Because we still get to play the game.
Also, a big shout out to the Raiders as well, as we swapped a fixture with them.
Yep.
But no, it's a difficult time for Swindon. But the one thing I will say is, as much as maybe we got better, it seems like they're working hard to fix it. It seems like the people are working hard. So respect to them if they do that. But shall we get on to the games?
Yeah, so hopefully they can sort that out. And hopefully it's not too long that the rink's shut, but we'll have to see. And we'll have some more updates in the podcast. But yeah, we've got a lot to review. The first weekend, lads, there was a lot of goals. Should we start with the Phantoms? Now, we watched the Phantoms on the stream on Friday night. I know Charlie did. Did you watch it, Dan?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
And it was a goal fest, wasn't it? 7-6 in the end, was it, or 6-5?
7-6, I believe.
Yes, 7-6, and it was a goal fest, and I think that set the tone for the weekend with the amount of goals which were going in. Would you say that?
Defenses aren't as sharp as the attacks right now.
No,
same with the goalies.
And the Phantoms, obviously, we'll touch on that in a minute because you actually went to the Bees Phantoms game. But I wanted to start with the Bristol Pitbulls and the Knights because they had a back-to-back against each other. So they played against each other on Saturday and Sunday. And you went to the game on Saturday, didn't you, Charlie? You said that the Knights it was actually quite a close game going into the third period, would you say?
Bristol were good, actually. They were missing Sobchak and Harewood, so big 2 losses there. Against the Knights team, which only was missing Macmillan, and they're the reigning league champs against second bottom in the league. And Knights did well. They were competitive for 2.5 periods. They had they had some good moments, but Kieran Brown's a nutter, and he knows how to score. He knows how to assist. He's very good, very good. But the one player I wanted to shout out,
I was going to ask
seen
this.
a couple of people on Twitter saying that the imports who have come into this league aren't great. Well, Tanner Butler, he's unreal, and I genuinely mean it. I've watched him play a couple times now, obviously, 2 pre-season versus Swindon. He was decent versus pre-season, but whenever Tanner Butler was on the ice against Leeds weren't as strong as they are when anyone else was on the ice. Tanner Butler, I'd like to see his attackive game, but defensively, he is so solid. And for me, I know I've only watched him a couple times, but he's 100% one of the best D-men in this league. And I don't need to watch him anymore. Tanner Butler, he had Kieran Brown in his pocket at times. And I know Kieran Brown scored a hat-trick, but it wasn't while Tanner Butler was on the ice. And the guy, he's a good skater, he's physical, he's got a good shot, good pass, and one-on-one defending, he's really good. So Tanner Butler, I really think Bristol got the real deal in him.
Yeah, and I think we'll hopefully see his attacking productivity in the next few weeks. He's still getting used to the league, the power plays, but defensively, you can definitely tell that's the strongest point in his game, would you say, Charlie?
100%. I remember Kieran Brown in the first period, it was one-on-one versus Butler, and he almost stuck his bum into him, grabbed the puck and skate around him. Yeah. And you almost saw Brown almost go like this, like, what? This isn't the defenders I'm used to playing against. Yeah. And I think the D-men I've seen so far, it feels like there is a level to it, especially with Butler. He's the best D-man I've watched so far.
Nice. So yeah, that was the first weekend. Bristol, they're missing Sobchak, but they'll have him for this weekend. And we'll go into the fixtures in the second half. We'll go on to the Bees then, Dan, because wow, 4-point weekend. A lot of people put them near the bottom of our league, and I know it's early days, but one of the things we said was we didn't think they'd score enough goals. However, they scored 7 on Saturday night against the Phantoms and another 7 on Sunday night. 7. So they scored 14 goals this weekend. And 9 of those goals, Balaz was involved in. He got our player of the week. Dan, just talk us through Saturday, briefly summarize it.
I mean, it's sort of weird looking back here, really, because obviously Phantoms always come out strong. They always come out thinking that obviously they're going to be owning the game like they do. The passes that they've got, like the big names they've got, Padlek, Slavkovsky,
Luke Ferrara.
There. Yeah, Luke Ferrara as well, holding the puck and owning the game. But then the Bees, he just came along, Balaz. He was just going up the right wing, just cut inside, and that was it. I was 1-0. It just sort of happened just like that. Like they didn't really show any signs of scoring until then.
I was just going to say, I watched the highlights, and I think that was kind of the start of it, really, that Balaz goal, and then it was just all straight on Mar putting the pressure on him, wasn't
it? Yeah. I think the lines that they did, obviously, I know they were a few players short. Obviously, Morris and Rossbottom, they were short of them, so the lines are a bit muddled up. But obviously, I know it worked for them, and obviously it worked for them this weekend. But I think the lines that they have, they could do a lot better with the lines, like when all the players are back.
Yeah,
I think obviously they might not want to change them now after this weekend, but I think with the players coming back, they could definitely improve with the lines.
One question I've got for you. One question I got though, Dan, is it's the first weekend, and can the Bees keep this up for many games, or do you think in games they will struggle because it was heavily dominated by that top line of Gabaj, Balaz, and Doughty? So will they be able to keep that up, or in some games will they struggle not having the depth of scorers?
I think the opposition is definitely going to be a big difference in the way you play. Obviously, some games you're all about the top line. If they're out for all the time and it's a high intensity game, obviously they're not going to be able to keep their stamina up for the whole game. Yeah. That's when you need to rely on your obviously lower lines. But I mean, in Peterborough, obviously you'd think Peterborough would be a tough game for every line, and for any team, Peterborough is always tough.
Wow,
just because of the way they play.
Peterborough were missing a few players. They didn't have Susters this weekend. Who was the other one, Charlie? They didn't have
Mitchell King, and then they've got a 6'6"
Oh, yeah.
plus
Yeah.
import.
They've got a big import. So they still have 3 players to come in to this weekend. And I think they will need them because they were heavily relying again on Padalek, Slagkowski and Luke Farrar. I think that was literally a line they're playing, wasn't it, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've showed the highlight about 3 or 4 times on the
Yeah,
social media.
it was a
about
good
line
goal.
scoring. Yeah, it was a good goal, and I think obviously that's the line that they really like.
Yeah.
And it seemed to work on both the games. I mean, there was not really any issues with the lines. I thought the D was a bit open. I think
Yeah.
that probably could have been a big problem for them against Bees, because obviously, like on the power play, they were giving away a lot of penalties as well. Like I said,
Yeah.
the discipline wasn't like the normal Peterborough that I saw last season. I don't know if that was I don't know if it was anger or frustration, anything like that, but they just weren't the normal Peterborough.
Maybe they just hadn't got out of that second gear at the start of the season. It kind of goes against everything we said in the preview. We were like, the Bees won't be able to score much, and Peterborough have a very good defence, and that just went out the window on the Saturday, didn't it? But it's early days, as I said. It's the first weekend. You're going to get your cobwebs out at the start. I'm going to move on to the Lightning, because I actually bought the Lightning stream on the Saturday because the Wildcats weren't playing, and yeah, they had an emphatic 6-1 win over the Raiders. Just pure domination. It could have been double figures. Brandley Windlebank played in that game, a young keeper, and he actually got man of the match in that game. So that just shows you everything you need to know about that game. And yeah, it was just domination. I think they're going to be very hard to beat on home ice. Do you reckon, Charlie?
We're having them on Saturday. No, I'm joking. MK, they're favourites for this league, man. And they did another way of showing that this weekend with 4 points. It sounded like on home ice they are literally terrifying in terms of not giving you the puck and dominating you.
Yep.
But I'm excited to see them tested versus the likes of Leeds, because I watched Leeds obviously and they had a good weekend, and Hull, I watched them twice with their stream.
They've got them tonight.
And Hull were good as well. So they're going to get tested and they're going to have big games, and I'm excited to see.
It was a test for them on Sunday because they went up to Sheffield and they did win 5-3. But it was 3-3 going into the last 3 minutes, and our boy Tom's Rutkiss scored to get him the winner. So it shows that away from home, maybe some teams can get on them, but I think they're going to be so dominant. It's just with MK, it's just a wave of players, quality players coming at you every time who can put the puck in the net. The standout player for me that game was Callie Robertson. I think he got a goal or 2 in the game, and he's on their third line, and it's like he was one of Bristol's top point scorers last season, and he's banging in goals. Callum Field had another great weekend. He got a goal on Sunday as well, and we said he could even be on the 4th line. But yeah, they've just got so much talent and so much quality, and it is so hard. I was saying to you guys, Charlie and Dad, that by the time the opposition can get the puck and skate out, they've got to dump it for a line change because MK have been dominating in the zone for so long. And I think you asked me on Sunday, didn't you, Dan? We said, is the height going to be a factor that they haven't got very tall D-men? Well, actually, because they've got so much puck possession, it's not really a big factor because they are the dominant team in games. So yeah, it'll be interesting, and we'll go into our preview on Swindon MK in the second half, and then the final ones I wanted to touch on. We've got the Solway Sharks. Now, we did say at the start of the season, and it's only the first weekend, that it would be a struggle for them because it is their first year, and it seemed like this weekend they hadn't quite got it. They're not quite bonding yet. Do you think it's just a slow start for them, Dan?
I don't know. I think they're obviously they've definitely wanting to win that game, aren't they? They're going to want to win their first few games because the first team it's their first season. They don't want to be putting a bad name out for themselves, but it is going to be a tough season for them. I think.
Is. They lost on Saturday night to Telford at home, and then Sunday they lost 4-2 as well. But they have got quality players, and I think it is just going to take a bit of time. Charlie, what do you have to say on them this weekend?
I think the Raiders' loss is understandable and expected in like the nicest possible way. But the Telford loss at home is going to hurt them. bit disappointed if I would be a Solway fan from the Telford loss at home, your home opener in the league, and you lost it in the last 3 minutes, and they struggled against the Telford team who had one of their imports recently leave. But this Solway team's going to get better. They're going to be adapting to the National League. They're going to improve. But it is going to be a tough season for them. And they may prove me wrong again, but I think they'll settle in. But I think they are going to struggle this season, and they're going to have to grind for results. Because as shown this weekend, Bristol played 2.5 good periods against the league winners. Bees managed to bag a 4-point weekend. This league's competitive, so you've got to be on it. Otherwise, you're going to drop points.
And I just want to put this out there. We are not against Solway, by the way. We were just literally giving our predictions based on what we saw last season with Bristol coming in the league new and Hull coming in the league new. And they struggled in their first season. It's a first adaptation season. And that's all we think will happen with Sol. We've got nothing against them. And I'm sure, lads, we're happy to be proven wrong because they did make a really good introduction into the league.
But I want to see it as well.
Yeah,
I want to see it. If they're going to prove us wrong, show it as well. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not a player. I'm never going to claim to be good. But they said they're going to prove us wrong. So at the end of the year, I do want to see it as well.
Yeah, we want to see it.
The statement get backed up, if you know what I mean.
Another thing is obviously it's another team added to the NIHL. No one's ever going to complain about a team wanting to challenge itself in the National League.
We respect
the more teams, the better. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Because
there's no problem. Like it's good for them. I'm happy for them to be joining the National League. Like for their fans, for the players, it's just going to be good for them.
Yeah.
Like the first season is always going to be tough, like we said. And even if it's not good until they're halfway through this season, at least they're in the league and they're trying their best. And obviously they are trying to compete. And it's always good to challenge yourself. So it's definitely not a bad thing what they're doing.
100%, and it's their first season. Like it is their.
I do
first
think they'll
season.
get good.
Yeah,
I do think Solway will get good.
They just need to click.
Second half of the season, I think they're going to be really pushing for playoffs. But I think it would take a while for some of their players to adapt. Even players like John Dunbar and Craig Peacock, they're going to take a bit of a time to just adapt to the league as a whole. They're good players and they will bang off points, but I can imagine in the second half of the season, their points will just go up and up and up.
Yeah, there's still 54 games remaining. So there's plenty of time, plenty of points to be paid. And the last game before we move on to our Josh Shaw interview is Swindon versus Hull. We were all there. We all made the 4-hour. Well, Dan, it was an extra hour because you had to go from Basingstoke to Swindon then. But we all made the trip up to Hull. But we came back with a point. Swindon did manage to get a point. They lost on penalties. But can we just talk about one guy in particular, Rennie Marr? Charlie, wow, he was nuts.
What did I say, man? This guy is minimum the second best goalie in the league this year, and I'm feeling it, baby. Minimum. Rennie Marr is the man this year. On my days, if it wasn't for Rennie Marr, that game could have been, what did it finish as? 2-2,
It's 3-3.
3-3. Yeah, if we didn't have Rennie Marr that game, it was minimum 6-3. That guy is a joke in net. Overtime, robbed. Overtime, windmill. Third period, windmill. Oh my days, that man.
But credit to Hull, because actually the difference from last season to this season, I know they've brought in so many quality players, but I was actually very impressed with the amount of time they spent in the zone. They dominated when they were in the attacking zone. They didn't they were first to the puck every time. When they had a shot, they were straight to the puck, and they must have dominated us on the shot stats. I haven't actually got them with me. But Svek looked really sharp. Who impressed you the most from Hull, Dan?
I really like Svek. Obviously, he's been in this league for quite a while now, so he's sort of settled in really well.
You like Bartholomew?
Yeah, Bartholomew. He's one of them players. Obviously, me and Charlie were talking. Obviously, I was talking to you as well.
Yeah,
I think he could get caught out with his offensive play. I think that could, if it's done wrong. Obviously, I'm not saying he's bad at it, but if it could, like everyone gets caught out. Obviously, that could be a big problem.
He's a heavily attacking player, isn't he? He loves going forward, and I think. In sometimes they can get caught on the break, but again, that's just adaptation to the league, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, these English rinks are not the same as they were in Canada, and he's going to be getting used to it. And obviously, fair play to him. It's his first few games, and he's already carrying the puck halfway up the ice.
Yeah.
Like normally, as a D man, like you want to be just playing it safe, just doing your job. Obviously, that's what I was going to say about Tanner Butler. Obviously, you're saying about his offensive play. Maybe he just wants to do his job, sort of settle in, and then he'll start showing.
It's a bit of reverse. They're both doing the opposite. So we'll have to see in the next few weeks. But I was very impressed with Bartholomew. I thought
he seems to be loving. He seems to be loving it in Hull. Anyway,
yeah, he does.
Like all the interviews he's done, he seems to be loving it. All the players seem to be loving it.
They look really good. Charlie, go
on. I wanted to mention one guy who I want to see more from. I really like the whole Hull team, but there's one player I felt like there's more in there.
I can guess what you're going to say. Bobby Young, yeah.
I don't think he was great, I'll be honest. And this isn't me saying he's not a good player.
It's one game, though.
From what I watched, I wasn't as impressed as I thought I could be. And I think he has the ability. I didn't get to see his shot.
100%.
He was great on the face-offs, but he didn't do much else. And I really want to see him as an NCAA import. Last year, Herman, Grant Cooper, Brendan Welcome, 3 of the best players in the league. And so, as an NCAA import, I really want to see him pop off. Well, not really, because I don't want Hull to do better than Swindon. But in terms of a player, I think there's so much more to see from him.
I think he will. I think he showed
so much more.
I think there was signs. I don't think he was rubbish. I think he was all right and he was good on the draws. But as I said, I think Svek is going to be their goal scorer this season. And I think Bobby Young's going to have to be that guy who's going to be the one assisting it to Svek and Chamberlain. So I think he's going to take a little back seat in the goal scoring personally. We'll have to see, but it's early days. It's really early days and he's a new import. And as for Swindon, we'll quickly touch on them. We did look a bit rusty, but you're going to expect that when we haven't been able to train as a team together, aren't you, Dan?
Yeah. I mean, what was it you said? You had 6 guys training in the week?
Yeah, it was 7+ Mar.
Yeah. So, I mean, from that, obviously, I would take a point if I was you from that weekend. Like, you take anything from that.
Any team going to Hull, they're going to struggle.
Yeah, exactly. It's very good signs for you going forward. Obviously, you held your own. I know. I'm like last minute. You got the equaliser. Yeah. But obviously, a goal's a goal at the end of the day.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how
Charlie's
it goes
favourite. I can see him smiling right now.
Malazinski.
Wow. Let me talk about this because I wanted to mention it. Malazinski.
I've started him now.
I've seen people telling me he's not one of the top 5 players in this league. He had a bad game in a Swindon shirt for his standards.
A quiet game.
Me and Dan were looking at each other going, Malazinski's not turned up. Last minute, bang, goal, overtime. Here we go. The man is a joke, and I'm buzzing he's in a Swindon shirt still. Yeah. And I think I would definitely take the point from that game. Like I said, it's tough circumstances, but we just showed rustiness. We couldn't pass the puck out of the D zone quite as well. We couldn't get hold of the puck as well. We didn't look quite as drilled on the power play. So little things just didn't quite work. But
the one thing that was questioned going into the season was defensively. And I thought defensively, we were actually all right. We managed to just keep within that 1 goal away, and we got that goal at the end. And I think the defense was very good. They worked hard, and the forwards defensively very impressed me. Colby going back, Cowley helping out coming back, Chris Jones as well, and even Lebuele. I thought they were all very good, and it was just a very good team performance grinding out that result, wasn't it, Dan?
Colby had a really good game. Yeah, he was one that really stood out for Swindon. Obviously, you got Rennie Marr, but Colby, I think he's definitely like an argument for man of the match if Marr's not there. I think Colby was definitely out there. Like he really stood out.
And talking of Swindon, we interviewed Josh Shaw. Shall we get into that now, lads?
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to another special interview. Charlie, do you want to introduce him?
Yes, we would like to welcome onto the podcast a 17-year-old. He's rapid and he works his bum off. He played for the Okanagan Academy. He played for the Bristol Pitbulls last year, but he's back home with the Swindon Wildcats. Josh Shaw, how are we doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm very good. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
That's all right. How have you found it so far being back at the Cats?
Yeah, I'm loving it. The boys are great. And it's great to be playing back at home again.
Yeah, and you've scored a couple goals in pre-season as well. How nice was it to get back out with some of those top players at Swindon?
Yeah, no, pre-season was good. I felt good out there. Kind of surprised myself a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, playing with top guys like Malash, Glenny, all the imports as well. Feels great. It's hard because you got to keep up with them, but no, it's good experience at the end of the day.
Yeah, with Nelly being out for a couple of weeks as well, you got on the top line yesterday with Billin and Malas. How was that? Because them two, as you said, you got to keep up with them.
Yeah, they're pinging pucks around like it's nothing. I've got to keep up with that, but no, it's like I said, it's good experience and it helps me build as a player as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, build for the future really.
Go on, Charlie.
It's definitely fun, haven't you? The little Afro rapid player is out on the ice again.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
We'll go back to you started the Okahagan really young, didn't you?
Yeah, so I think it was I must have been 13 or 14.
Yeah.
I think I was too young to actually play under 18s.
Oh, okay.
I trained with them for a year. And then when I turned, I don't know what the age is to play under 18s, but I turned the age of that. I think I spent 2 years there.
To Okanagan, yeah.
Yeah, I worked with Ryan and on the ice every day. It helps. Brian as a coach is obviously great. You know the job he's doing up in Leeds, which is brilliant. And to be fair, without him, I don't think I'd be the player I am now. He helped me in my development quite a lot.
Yeah.
And like the setup there was great. Like being on the ice every day, gym most days, and then all the off-ice stuff as well was brilliant.
And you made the move. Well, you had a few games for Swindon in that season, but you were 15, 16 at the time with the Wildcats. What was the decision behind going to Bristol? Was it purely just to get used to the men's league and being able to play in that NIHL one?
So yeah, at the start of the season, I think I was 15, waiting to turn 16, and Ollie and Bailey were playing for them. They were talking about it all, and I went to watch one of the games. I think it was in Slough, and I think they had a few injuries. And I think a week after I turned 16, and Jamie, like at the game, he spoke to me as, "Oh, do you want to play next weekend?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, all right." So I think it was 2 days after I turned 16. I played. I think it was in Oxford, I think.
Yeah.
And then it just kicked off from there. Really, started playing for them, and I think I went more with them than under 18s toward the end of the season. And I think that helps in the long run, getting used to senior.
Yeah, you got a point per game in the NIHL one. Was it literally just about getting used to that men's league? Because as you said, you'd literally just turned 16 years old, or did you have aspirations to get to the NIHL with Bristol the next season?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's much bigger, aren't they? Stronger, and to get used to that was perfect for me. Obviously, I knew there was some sort of plan to move up to the National League, so that was always in the back of my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was just getting used to it really, and then the year after was a bonus really coming up to the National League, and I just carried it on really.
Go on, Charlie.
Yeah, you scored 12 goals in the National One League, and for a 16-year-old to be able to snipe 12 past men goalies, have you naturally had quite a good shot? Because 12 goals at 16 in whatever league you're playing in is very good.
I mean, it's definitely got better over the last 2-3 years. I think that's a lot of help from Aaron as a shot he's got. He helped me a lot. I think that came to bite him in the back last season at one point. But no, it's a lot of help from Aaron and a bit of practice here and there. But yeah.
How did you find last season? Because it was your first, I'd say, proper season, getting some consecutive games at Bristol. A very young team. You had a lot of players like Jay and Mason as well, playing their first full season in the NIHL. How did you find it? Because there was some top players in the league you were coming up against.
Yeah, I mean, first full season, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the league, gained a lot of experience. I learned much more about the game, how mentally challenging it is than physically. I think physically, I mean, sometimes I don't know, make a hit and bounce straight off the person, but I still go in and try and make the hit. But overall, mentally, it was quite exhausting, and at times it was quite a tough season. I sat down with Jamie quite a few times just to refocus, and he was like helping me out because all the challenges with like travel and all the things to do with the mental side of it.
Yeah.
But gaining that experience with a full season under my belt was good. I know a lot more what I can and can't do. I've learned to be much more calmer on the park. And
yeah, we've noticed that a lot, actually.
Yeah, just to not stress out, really. I think last year I was putting way too much pressure on myself when there shouldn't.
Ooh.
And I mean,
Yep.
there's no pressure needs to be put on me.
Yeah.
And I've learned this year just to.
Oh, you're cutting out a bit.
You just cut out a little bit there.
Where did I get to? Sorry.
That's
It's
all right.
all good.
It's all right. Go on, Charlie.
We'll ask about something quite exciting for you. Was GB under 18s at obviously 16 and 17. How have you found going playing, I believe, abroad twice for the GB under 18s?
Yeah, it's a different world. It's brilliant. The World Championships are so professional. Coming against people your age, the same skill set and speed as you, and it's challenging. And when you're away with the boys, it's great. Like, we have a laugh, but obviously when it's game time, you got to be serious.
Did you score an overtime winner as well in one of the games?
Yeah, that was very cool. Obviously the feeling you get after that, just in a normal game, but doing it at World Championships is 10 times better.
Yeah. For the people who don't really know too much about your game, because you're still only 17. I think, you 18 in October. What kind of player would you say you are? For the people who don't really know too much about you.
It's a tough question, really.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm quite fast.
Yeah.
I like to try and play the body as much as I can, if an opportunity arises. But I would say I'm a bit of a grinder. I just want to score as many goals as possible. I mean, last season wasn't great in the points department, but try and improve year by year, and I'm sure the points will come.
And is there any NIHL players you look up to watching?
Obviously Conor McDavid, Austin Matthews, all of them. Conor Bedard, obviously now. They're unreal players, and you obviously aspire to be like that. But yeah, no, definitely.
Go on, Charlie.
I wanted to ask about a Bristol Pitbull player in Owen Sobchak. He obviously was a Canadian who came into the country but took the captain's armband straight away. How was it playing under him? And he's a very, very good player. And how was he like as a captain?
Yeah, definitely. From the day he came in, he was brilliant with everyone. He's one of those imports who would do anything for anyone. He wouldn't sit back and say, "Oh, you take the stick bag, and I'll just sit back and take my own bag." He'll help everyone, and he was positive all the time. Even when he was injured, he'd be in the room geeing the boys up and trying to get us going. He's always positive, and that's what you need really from a captain. And he fitted the role perfectly.
You'd look at him; he's a small player, but he's a very dangerous player as well. He's got a very hard shot for how small of a player he actually is. I wanted to talk about obviously the situation with the Wildcats at the moment, and obviously you're a player with the team. How hard is it at the moment not being able to fully train with the lads, not having a rink, not being able to spend time with the lads, and literally just going into weekends with playing each other once every week? How hard is that?
Yeah, I mean, none of us expected it really. I think, was it Monday it happened?
Yeah, it was a shock, really, wasn't it?
I think I was up all night listening to it. I think my house was shaking. It's a massive shock for everyone, really. No one likes to hear about this sort of stuff. But Aaron, Steve, all the guys behind the scenes are doing everything they can. They're keeping us updated. They're doing everything they can for us, keeping it positive. And that's all they can do, really. They've done a great job of it. They've made sure we're keeping us fit. We've been doing spin classes, been trying to get ice. We were in Cardiff last week. We're going to try and get some ice this week. We're getting some ice this week. And it's just having that positive mentality. Like the game against Hull, we obviously none of us, most of us haven't trained in about a week and a bit. So you just had to go into it positively. And I mean, you do what you got to do, because at the end of the day, we're competing for points at the moment, and whatever happens will happen at the end of the day.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about this for me. how good was Rennie Marr against Hull yesterday? Because, oh my days, that man, you talk about a robbery. He robbed him about 20 times. How good
I know. He was unreal yesterday, and big players step up at big times. And yeah, Rennie's a great player. He helped us out quite a few times yesterday, and yeah, we're very lucky to have him.
What kind of things was Nelly saying to the boys? Obviously, because you hadn't been able to train all together, you stuck in the game the whole 60 minutes, and you kept it just to that one goal, and then you managed to get that one goal at the end. What's the team spirit been like between everyone? Considering it is quite tough at the moment.
Yeah, no, everything's really positive at the moment. Aaron was really happy after the game. He was proud of us and how we competed. He said we worked our asses off basically, and that's all he wanted really. After, well, we haven't trained, so it's not much, I'd say, structure in place with like systems and all of that. Obviously, it's a rough structure, but the more details we should have gone into, we haven't been able to. But he was just happy with the compete, and obviously after a loss, you expect things to be like quiet and stuff. But the boys are happy. Like the bus on the way back was positive, and we're all having a good time.
Yeah, and
100%.
Go on, Charlie.
100%. And for the viewers watching, I don't think they realise quite how difficult it was for Swindon going to a Hull team who were confident, who were fit, who had ice every week. And to be fair of Hull, they played well. And for the Swindon team to come away with even a point against a team with the likes of Bobby Chamberlain, Bobby Young, was just really good. We grinded out a result there, and I think the fans go. But go on, Jack.
I was going to ask, looking ahead to next week, obviously we got the Raiders away. Unfortunately, not able to play the home game. What kind of stuff are you doing away from hockey just to prepare for that game? Is there any stuff that Nels? You said they've got a few spin classes, but is there any stuff you can do to prepare for the game?
It's tough, really. So we obviously did spin classes. We've got some training this week. As much as we can train. There's limited ice, obviously, elsewhere, but it's kind of tough. We're trying to stick together as a team, but there's only a certain amount of things you can do to do that. But I'm sure everyone's in the gym by themselves doing their own thing. I know I will be this week, just trying to keep fit and be ready for the weekend, because Raiders obviously going to be another good side, and it's going to be another big challenge for us. So we want to keep getting the points and keep the momentum going.
Yeah, they've improved a lot as well. What kind of, obviously you've had your full season with Bristol in the league. Looking to this season, what kind of stuff what kind of targets did you set for yourself? Is it just to keep improving and getting better, or have you got some points targets?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously the main goal is to be improving week in, week out. Definitely when I look back to last year, the points don't look very nice. So obviously I want to be scoring more goals, more assists, and all that. But just helping the team to reach that end goal of winning a trophy and maybe even going further to a league. I know it's going to be hard this year because it's so more competitive. But just trying to bring my game back to Swindon and helping everyone out, really.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Charlie, have you got another question?
Should we finish off with this one?
Yeah.
With the final question. I do this to everyone. What message have you got to the Swindon Wildcat fans?
Because it is tough at the moment.
Yeah, no, just keep sticking with us. Like, we're doing everything we can, and every time we put on that jersey and step on the ice, we're going to do everything we can to get those points and keep this season alive.
Yeah, hopefully the leisure centre can wake up and start trying to do stuff to get this rink back, because it's not even just about the ice hockey. You've got all the skating sessions, you've got the figure skaters, you've got all the junior setups as well. So it's a lot more than just getting the Swindon Wildcats back. There's a lot to it. Josh, thank you for hopping on. I know it was very last minute to get you on, but we appreciate it. And we'll see you up in Romford against the Raiders. So appreciate it, Josh.
No, thank you very much for having me, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Hello, welcome back. Thank you very much, Josh Shaw, for hopping on. A really nice interview. Literally come on with about 10 minutes notice. So I appreciate it, Josh. And yes, hopefully some positive signs for Swindon. Nell's doing everything he can to try and get that rink done. And he looks like he's doing everything he can to rearrange fixtures, doesn't he, Charlie?
Yeah, I love Nelly and I love Josh Shaw. And I just wanted to say this because I didn't want to say I was on. He's only 1 year younger than me, but he's 17 and He speaks so well, so mature, and the player he's going to become is going to be unreal. Like, I really love Josh Shaw. We actually watched him in an OHA game when he was like 14, 15, and he's already in the Swindon men's team at 17, made his debut at 16. So there's big things ahead for that guy. And he's got a lot to be proud about because he's a great player for his age and speaks so well.
And we have got 2 games this weekend, so that's really positive. But yeah, let's look ahead to this weekend. And I wanted to start for the Pitbulls because I think it's a very, very big weekend for them. They've got the Bees and the Phantoms. Now, the Phantoms obviously struggled last weekend, but I think they're both winnable games for the Pitbulls. What do we think, Dan? Especially with Sobchak coming back. So they look like they'll be full fitness going into the games.
Yeah, I think the Bees Bristol game will be a really good game.
Yeah.
I think that'll be really tight. And obviously, they're both going to want to win that. They were the 2 that were battling out at the bottom of the league last season, and they're obviously going to be wanting to make a statement this season as well. Bees are going to be wanting to carry on their 4-point weekend. They're going to be want to carry that over. Hopefully, get them some more wins for them. Obviously, a few Bison boys there, so they're always rooting for them. But yeah, that should be a really exciting game.
Yeah, that's definitely one I'm looking forward to seeing the replays of. Charlie, I wanted to ask you a question. Bailey Harewood getting called up to Cardiff. Dad said on his predictions, he said that there could be players getting headhunted. Herman and Bailey Harewood was one of them, and he was with Cardiff at the weekend. Could this have an effect on Bristol, him not being in the lineup because he is one of their better players?
100%, 100%. I think it makes a huge difference, especially if Vanya's back for Bees. It makes a huge difference when you're missing a player like Bailey Harewood, probably Bristol's top 2 player, top 3 player. And he adds that skill and that goal out of nothing. So it's going to, I do think it's going to be a tough weekend for the Pitbulls because they got a Bees team who's confident and who wants to play Peterborough when they're not happy. Probably Peterborough's way as well. Yeah, may have their new import if they announce him. They're going to have potentially Sisters or Mitchell King back. Good luck.
But winnable games. You said they showed positive signs against Knights, and if Butler can carry that defence on, it could be an interesting game.
Norton
as well.
I did like him actually. Smittle only conceded 4 in Leeds, and Norton he conceded 7, I think, but it wasn't a 7-goal game. He played well when he needed to, and when the game was gone, it was kind of gone. So they've got Norton surprised me. He's been better than I thought. So they've got hope, Bristol, for sure.
Let's move on to our team, the Wildcats. We've got a home-away game in Milton Keynes on Saturday. So again, thank you for MK for letting us that go on. And then we've got a very tough Sunday away trip to Raiders. We love a Raiders trip, don't we, Charlie?
It's to be honest, like one of the hardest weekends you can get on paper.
Yeah.
MK and MK and Raiders. And we haven't, I don't know if we've been able to train proper, but we probably haven't had the 2 training sessions we normally have. So, I just want to see the boys do what they did in Hull, work their bum off, push themselves to their limits, put up a fight, don't get battered. And if you can come away with points, even better, because we're going through a tough time as a club. And to be honest, sometimes tough times bring teams even closer. So if we manage to win in MK, my weekend's been made.
Dan, can you see Swindon managing to get out of Milton Keynes with a point?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, MK are unreal. I think I'll be very surprised, I think.
Yeah, but we have got the player quality to do it. I think Billy,
100%.
You've always got Malash, you've got Lebuele there, Colby, and you never know. It's a big ice rink. Anything can happen. For last season we saw Swindon turn up for the big games, and we did win in Milton Keynes last season. That overtime game, probably one of my favourite games of all time. So hopefully we can see him turn up. And Raiders away. I do hate Raiders. I'll be honest. I think it's very intimidating there. I don't hate Raiders team. I mean, I hate playing in Raiders because I think it's a very tough game, and we always seem to struggle there. So hopefully, we can turn that around.
I think you could get a win in Romford.
Hopefully,
Hopefully,
I
can see it.
Yeah, Leeds Knights. Are we expecting another domination this weekend? They've got the Bees and the Phantoms as well. So the Phantoms at home and the Bees away. Charlie, are you expecting another 4 points there for the Knights?
Yeah, Kieran Brown will bag another 16 goals. I liked the look of the Knights when I watched them.
And this is without Noah McMullen as well.
Yeah, that new guy looks good, by the way, Bo. I like the look of Leeds. They're solid. They do their job. And Sam Gospel casually shutouts.
I forgot to mention him, yeah.
And do you know Bristol had, from what I heard, I may be wrong here, 11 power plays.
Wow.
So Sam
Fair
Gospel,
play, Sam Gospel.
Yes. They're I think a 4-point weekend, but who knows? Bees away in Slough, and you got Ballas scoring 16 goals a game too, and then you've also got obviously Peterborough, and Peterborough are going to be annoyed this weekend. So who knows what Peterborough could do?
Yeah, let's move on to the next weekend, which is a double header. It's Sharks against Sheffield, so they're playing each other on the Saturday and the Sunday, home and away. Dan, can you see Sharks getting anything from this weekend?
I think they could get 2 points from that. I think they could beat Sheffield in their home ice. I mean, they beat them before. They beat them in pre-season. I think they can definitely do something there.
Yeah, and is Sheffield without Hewitt? Is he still banned?
I think so. It depends how long that ban was, whether it was 2 or 6.
Yeah, and if Hewitt is out,
I think it was 6.
Okay, so if he is out, that's a very big advantage for Sharks. But yeah, Sheffield held their own, considering they only had one game last weekend, and that was against Milton Keynes. So we'll have to see. Yeah. I hope Sharks can get something. I want them to do well, to be fair.
They're going to want something out of them games.
Yeah,
I think.
they are.
I think they're going to want it.
Yeah, for sure. And then we've also got the Seahawks. Hull, they're actually playing tonight against MK. So that's literally facing off in less than an hour. So I'll be buying the stream for that. Are you buying the stream, lads? I know you're out, aren't you, Dan?
Yeah,
we're both out.
Well, I'll be buying it and have a look. But they've also got Tigers on the Sunday at home. I can't really see anything but a Seahawks winning that one, Charlie.
Don't write off Tommy Watkins.
And the centerman's, is he banned as well? He got sent off. In the last game.
Maybe write off Tommy Watkins.
Charlie, come on. But no, the centerman got a game, didn't he, against Bees? So I don't know if he'll miss this game.
Now, I like Telford. I think they can shock people. But Hull, we went there. Oh my days, they just non-stop pressure. Fans on top of you as well. So it's tough, but there's the team to do it. Telford are the type of team who would do it. So who knows, really?
Yeah.
About that,
go on, Dan.
About that import, have they put out anything yet about how long they're taking to review the penalties on the games?
I'm not sure.
No.
Because
they normally release on Fridays.
Yeah. It's the first proper game penalty we've had this season, isn't it? That's the first one.
Yeah, I think it's
Sobchak.
But it was
Sobchak.
That was pre-season.
That was pre-season, yeah. So,
but this was on the Sunday, so they should review it before the Saturday game.
Yeah. Yeah, because obviously if it's a game penalty, obviously it'll be missing just the game on a night, and it'll be good for the next game. But obviously a match penalty, you can't play the next game after. So
okay,
that would. But yeah, I haven't seen anything about any reviewing or anything like that. So
okay, well, I think that's the end of the fixtures, lads. We've given our predictions. Thank you again, Josh, for hopping on. We're going to be at Milton Keynes and Romford as well. So if you see us, say hello. Hopefully the Wildcats can get something from this weekend. And yeah, just let us know in the comments where are you going this weekend, and let us know how your team did at the weekend, and your thoughts from the past the first week of English ice hockey. I'm glad hockey's back, even though we're not playing home games. I'm sure you're happy that you're managing to watch some hockey, Dan.
Yeah, honestly, it's just so nice to be back, even though it's not my team. But hockey's hockey at the end of the day.
Yeah, and we're all hoping for a Seahawks win tonight.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that game. I wish I was watching the stream, to be honest, but I'll definitely be looking through Twitter.
That'll be good. Well,
that'll be an exciting game. That will.
By the time this is out, the game would have finished, so we'll see what would happen. But now, on a serious note, I just love seeing. I hope it's a very competitive game tonight, because they did wipe the Raiders apart on Saturday. So yeah, make sure you give a like on all platforms. Macca's Talk Hockey is our socials name on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll be back next week. We've got a couple interviews lined up. So we'll see you next week. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Good night.